Hey rollers, recently I jumped into a small local tournament where I was the only brown belt in a 5-man round robin format. All I had to do was engage my brown belt powers and I would slice through the competition and take first place. But as you know,
it's really not how things work around here.
Let's start with the kind of match that you might expect. The only blue belt in our group started by keeping his distance. He didn't want me to grip up, but I kept following, looking for a sleeve grip or maybe an arm drag. As soon as I got close enough, I changed levels, tied up a single leg, and brought him down. He managed to wrap up my head, but I had my body across his, so I knew I could relax without worrying about a choke. I came up to my knees so I could threaten a Von Flue choke or just get in position to free my head and get on with things. He used his left arm to frame on my hip, but I just kept pushing into it with my weight until I could close up the space. I decided to untuck my gi tail and try to feed it to my right hand, which was already in position under his head. I rotated and buried my head beside his ribs to tighten the noose. From here, I knew I just had to wait for the restriction to take effect. I've seen guys roll right through on this, but I like to hang around on top just in case my grip fails or in case the guy has an iron neck. Things worked out for me here, and I got the tap. On to the purple belts.
Move on.
The next match I'm showing here went pretty well for me too, despite a shaky start. I was trying to set up a takedown where I grab a grip on the belt, fall backwards, and use a hook to flip my opponent over me. Here's Kurt Osiander demonstrating the move I was hoping to hit. Oh yeah, that looks sweet. I had it all set up right here, but I didn't pull the trigger fast enough, and my opponent dropped me with a beauty sacrifice move of his own. And here's where I nod my head like, yeah, well done. I might look like I'm being a jerk when I try to shove his head to the side, but his right arm is in kind of a deep underhook, so I was hoping to make space to spin into an omoplata. He kept a low, tight position, so my attempts to twist to the angle that I needed didn't work out. From closed guard, I looked for some attack options. I dug my right hand in for a nice deep cross-collar grip, and I pulled his left arm across with a sleeve grip. When he stood up, I had this weird moment where I wanted to throw up an armbar, but I felt like he was baiting me. Should I? Shouldn't I? Yes, I should. He fell back to defend, but I had his elbow in deep, so he had to tap. Alright, so far so good. Unfortunately, this video isn't titled "The Day Everything Went Perfectly." Things didn't go quite so smoothly in my other two matches.
A lot of things went wrong.
I took on Garrett in this match, and he showed me immediately that it was going to be a struggle. I used one of my favorite setups to get to a single leg and use a trip to get a takedown. He hopped over the trip and sprang up into top position. He spent a while working to pass my guard, and when I turtled, I found a chance to apply a Kimura grip to his right arm and try to spin under for something good. Things got worse here as Garrett got past my legs and right to mount. My strategy was to conserve energy, ride out a variety of positions, and look for a window to attack a submission. Obviously there are limited submissions from bad positions, so I should have been working harder to get into dominant control. Also, I was falling behind on points. Garrett was doing it right though. He was working up to a higher mount and isolating my arms, but I managed to wedge my knee in and turn it into a scramble. That is basically how the rest of the 7-minute match went. One extended and exhausting scramble. I wasn't too concerned about positional points here, even though I should have been. In the round robin format, each match won by points was worth 1 point, and each match won by submission was worth 3 points. We each worked on a couple of sub-attempts with nothing getting too close. In the end, Garrett came out ahead on points. Here's the match where my brown belt failed me the most. I could make a bunch of whiny excuses, but the truth is that my opponent Lee, a purple belt I train with regularly, was simply better than me in our match. Lee got a grip on my belt and then used a big slicing kick sweep to drop me. He spent the next couple of minutes trying to get past my guard. When he was almost through, I turtled, prompting him to jump across and look for an armbar. It wasn't quite there, so it was my turn to look for a guard pass. This is not an easy task with Lee though. He's got a wicked shin guard and he was gripping up in ways that had all my alarm bells ringing. Also, my guard passing is so casual that people who pass by think we're just hanging out, I guess? After over a minute of not passing his guard, I started getting impatient, so I did things in the wrong order. I stood first and then worked to break his grips. It was in this awkward time that Lee found an opening to isolate my right arm and sweep me over right into spiderweb. I turned my back to limit the immediate threat of an armbar, but I walked into Lee's favorite move, the bow and arrow. He has this nice finishing detail with the foot over the face that makes tapping seem like a great idea. I was happy for Lee, but a bit embarrassed that I got caught. There were lots of lessons to take away from this tournament. At the top of the list is the reminder that belts serve as a general indicator of skill level, but there is nothing magical about them. You gotta perform well to perform well. I hope you found something useful in this longer than usual video. If you appreciate what I do here on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching.